10:30 right after Good Morning New York.
The People's Court, today at 4:30.
The diary, Miss Alexander. I want you to tell me the meaning of the diary.
I don't know. I told you I don't know.
You can't deny it. You know what Jefferson Brown's notes mean. We want you to decipher them for us. Then you can leave here freely. You see how easy it is?
How can I tell you when I don't know?
I'm not going to ask you again, Miss Alexander.
I'm sorry, Miss Alexander. I didn't mean to frighten you.
I was dreaming. Sorry, it was very unpleasant.
And perhaps it was just as well that I woke you up.
Oh, yes, it was.
Look, you're quite safe now. That I can assure you. I'm just very sorry you've been through such a frightening experience.
You have no idea. I've been through so many crises in the past few months, and quite frankly, I'm getting sick of it.
Well, perhaps I can help make amends. That is, if you'll allow me to.
Well, why should you?
Well, mainly because I feel responsible for what happened to you here.
Oh, you shouldn't feel responsible. I mean, Foley tricked you.
Well, that's true, but this is my house, and I feel that it's been violated. I'm deeply sorry that you were a victim within its walls. It shouldn't have happened to anybody, especially a lady of your caliber.
Thank you.
So, if I could begin to make it up to you by offering you some breakfast.
Oh, well, thank you, but I do feel better. Maybe I should just get dressed and leave.
Oh, but there's no hurry. After the traumatic experience you've been through, why not spend the day resting? You never know the reactions, either physical or emotional, that might develop after a shock like this.
Well,
Why don't you spoil yourself? I can't think of anybody who deserves it more. And let me take care of things. I'll make sure that your recovery here is quiet and restful.
well, I do feel a little shaky.
Of course you do. And if I may say so, I wouldn't mind if your recovery here required a further 24 hours.
The Edge of Night is brought to you by Dawn, the dishwashing liquid that takes grease out of your way. And by mountain-grown Folgers, mountain-grown coffee, the richest kind.
Love the smell of Irish soda bread baking. That aroma of hot raisins and candied fruit fills the house. I'm Mrs. Olson. I remember Mrs. O'Brien saying, make it right, girl. The right ingredients make such a difference in how food tastes. Ingredients do make the delicious difference, especially in coffee. You take Folgers. Folgers' delicious ingredient is mountain-grown coffee. Mountain-grown coffee has more rich flavor and aroma than other kinds of coffee. Delicious. Good coffee is like good cooking. Mountain-grown is the ingredient that makes Folgers delicious. Try mountain-grown Folgers.
I visit my sister a few days and you buy a bargain liquid.
I'm saving money.
That bargain liquid just conks out on grease.
So, I'll add more.
So you add more and more liquid and you get less and less bargain. Dawn handles more grease for the money.
What do I know? I can't even find any clean shirts.
Look, I've washed a load of greasy dishes in an average bargain liquid, and Dawn. Dip 2 plates. This bargain plate looks greasy, but not Dawn. Dawn breaks up grease, keeps it away from the plate.
Nifty-looking dishes.
And your hands don't feel greasy.
Right. Well, now that Dawn cleaned my dishes, who does my shirts?
You do. Dawn handles more grease for the money.
Would you like more coffee while you're waiting, Mr. Whitney?
Yes, please, Gunther. Now, Aunt Geraldine is going to be coming by for breakfast, and she takes tea.
Yes, Mr. Whitney. I hope she's not late. I'm doing my best to keep things hot here at the sideboard.
Geraldine? Geraldine is one of the most punctual women that I've ever met. You can set your watch by her. There, you see what I mean?
Punctual? Well, I must be 3 minutes fast.
Good morning, Skylar.
Oh.
Don't get up, dear. I'm not visiting royalty, you know.
Well, you could have fooled me.
Mr. Saxon.
Thank you, Gunther. Well, I must say, it's very nice having breakfast with you this morning. We haven't breakfasted together since you were 12 and I was... Yes, well, never mind. Oh, dear, you're not going to read that newspaper at the breakfast table, are you?
No, as a matter of fact, I was just finished with it.
Oh, I'm so glad. I thought perhaps you might have inherited the most fatal flaw in the Whitney family character. You know, I very nearly divorced Gordon for that very thing.
Yes, but you didn't.
No.
How did you cure him of it?
I read all the morning junk mail out loud. It was very effective.
Geraldine, you're incorrigible.
No, dear, you are.
Who, me?
Oh, yes. I know perfectly well why you invited me to breakfast this morning, and it's not for the sake of my big, beautiful blue eyes.
Hazel.
Very observant. Oh, no. It's because you want to talk to me about WMON-TV and your purchase thereof.
Well, as a matter of fact, you're right. And I want to thank you for stopping by on your way to the station just for that.
Well, it wasn't just for that, dear. Your new cook is the main motivation. Now, really, Scotta. Seriously, how can I help expedite matters?
Well, as a matter of fact, things seem to be progressing quite smoothly. There is one letter I would like you to have a look at, though. It's from April Scott. I just received it. And as you can see, she is just about ready to transfer the property.
Thanks to your aunt's strong recommendation.
Yes, for which I'm eternally grateful. As you can also see there's only one major stipulation.
She wants me to stay on as manager.
Yes. Now, I was going to ask you to stay on as well. You are the person I plan on learning just about everything there is to know in the business from.
Scotta, there's only one thing you need to know, and it's something you should know already. And that is, to be a successful executive, you simply hire very competent people and then let them do their jobs without looking over their shoulder every 2 minutes. Then, if the job doesn't get done, you fire them. It's as simple as that.
Well, the station seems to be running quite smoothly now.
I'd say so, yes.
Well, I can assure you I've got no plans in interfering with things. And my major concerns are going to be public affairs and the news department.
Scotta, I would advise you not to start fiddling with the news department. It's the best local department in the entire network, due mainly to our news director, Nicole Cavanaugh. Also, she is extremely popular as a newscaster with the general public. So I don't want to see any disruption there.
Well, I certainly won't disrupt the routine. But I'm sure Mrs. Cavanaugh won't mind if I drop in the department from time to time.
Is the Whitney residence? I guess she is. May I ask who's calling, please? It's for you, Mrs. Saxon, and Mr. Carr.
Oh, the district attorney. Well, I certainly hope you're not in trouble, Geraldine.
No, but you are if you pick up that newspaper. Hello, Mike.
Geraldine, your secretary told me you were stopping by your nephew's this morning, so I'm taking this liberty because it's important.
Quite all right, dear. What's wrong?
The police located Raven late last night.
What? Where? When? Where is she, Mike?
Now, don't be alarmed. She's right here in Monticello. She had a bad scare, but that's all. She's unharmed, which is why I waited until this morning to call you.
Well, what in heaven's name happened?
Well, I'm not certain of all the details myself, so I'd like you to meet me at the house where she was found. It's owned by a Mr. Devereaux, Ian Devereaux. Do you know him?
There's something vaguely familiar about the name, but never mind that now. What's the address?
Southern Park Road at Vincent Drive in the Beaumont Hills section.
I'm on my way, dear, and I'm grateful, Mike. Thank you. I'm sorry, Scotta, but I have to go. Something of an emergency.
Oh, Geraldine, what's wrong?
Well, it's Raven. She's been missing. I thought she was on a little holiday, but apparently not. I really don't know what it is that's wrong, but apparently one of her usual misadventures.
Well, is she all right?
Mike says she is, so I suppose I should suppress hysteria until I get there. I must go to her at once.
Well, where is she?
For some unknown reason, she's at a home on Southern Park Road, owned by a man named Ian Devereaux.
Yes, sir. Well, I am really terribly sorry it happened this way, but I am certain of one thing. Raven Alexander knew nothing about her late husband's previous activities. Yes, sir, I'm sure of it. The only thing he confessed to her was his previous identity, and she didn't even know that until after they were married. She knew nothing at all about what he was doing in Switzerland in the first place and what it was that he had to sell. So it seems that my instincts were correct. This Brown had a confederate in Switzerland, someone who helped him assume Skylar Whitney's identity. That's the person we should have been questioning in the first place. Perhaps it isn't too late. Right.
Are you ready for the next great romance in your life? Silhouette Special Edition.
I know all about great romances. I'm Janet Daly. Silhouette Special Edition is unlike any other. Longer, spicier. Why, you'll be so involved, you can't put it down.
Make your own special time even more special. Relax with Silhouette Special Edition now.
New Tidy Cat 3 is a hard-working cat box fella.
Oh, Tidy Cat 3. When you go, One. It deodorizes better. Two. Absorbs like a real go-getter. Three. It leaves a clean, fresh scent. Tidy Cat 3. Got three-way odor controller. So when you go,
It's one hard-working cat box filler.
Sure, Mr. Sheridan, but are you sure you want chili with beans for breakfast? Well, to each his own. That's what they say. Anything else? A chocolate shake. Right. I'll send along a little packet of bicarbonate of soda just in case. So long. Oh.
How's the fair Sydney?
Oh, well, I am fit as a fiddle, my lad. How about you?
I'm great, and I'm doing better all the time.
Good. Breakfast?
Yep. Sid, this is going to be one of the last meals we have to put on the cuff. Yeah, I decided to accept Buffy Revere's offer of a loan.
Smart fellow.
Yeah, it just would have been foolish male pride if I hadn't. But there's one thing.
What's that?
I don't want Val to know about this.
Well, got nothing to worry about, kiddo. My lips are sealed. But don't you think that that's foolish male pride, too?
Yeah, but I'd like to think of it as a precaution.
So, now that you got yourself a little bankroll, things will start moving along at the theater, right?
Yep. Guess what's happening today?
What?
The theater company is coming in. We're starting rehearsals.
Ah, well, why do you have to rehearse if it's already been on the road?
Well, they usually don't. They just come in and hang the show.
Hang the show?
Yeah, they come in and they hang the scenery, and then they start performances. But this troupe of actors has been working on the theater in the round, and so they have to come in and rehearse and redo it to fit it on the proscenium stage at the Whitney Theater.
Oh, I got it. So then Gavin is going to restage the show.
Yeah, the original director has another project, so we got Gavin.
Hey, girl.
Hi, Val.
Hi, good morning, Val. You two decide what you want. I'll be right back, okay?
Hi, lady. How are you?
I'm fine. Full of smiles and good cheer this morning. What's up?
Well, the road company is coming in today. Gavin and I are going to go over and start rehearsals this afternoon.
Oh, that's great, Jim. Gosh, I'm glad things are working out for you. You deserve it.
Thanks. I've got some really good ideas for publicity. I figure we can recruit all of our friends and stuff and make this a real, event. And then we can get more exposure because we can make it with a big social event in the town.
Well, hey, guess what? Great news.
What?
You're not going to have any trouble getting TV coverage because Sky Whitney is the proud new owner of WMON.
What? Where did you hear that?
Sky. And I'm not telling tales out of school because it's soon to be common knowledge.
Well, when did all this come about?
Well, it's not really official yet, but it's about to be.
How do you know so much about it?
I had dinner with Sky last night.
Oh, yeah. Well, good. Maybe he'll be so involved with his electronic toy that he'll be less bothersome at the Whitney Theater.
I would hardly call him bothersome, Jim. He gave you the Whitney Theater for virtually nothing.
Yes, he did. And I'm grateful. But I'm quick to point out that the only reason he was generous was to impress you.
Whatever the reason, he allowed you to revive the theater in this town, to say nothing of your own career.
We don't need to defend Mr. Whitney, do we?
No, no, let's order. What do I want?
Val, phone for you.
For me? God, who knows I'm here?
Oh, I think I know.
Hello?
Miss Bryson?
Yes?
You're Valerie Bryson, who has the photography shop on Meeker Avenue.
That's right.
Well, Miss Bryson, you come very highly recommended as a portrait photographer. My source suggested you could be reached there at the restaurant.
Who is your source?
Well, as a matter of fact, I work for a very well-known person, a celebrity. He's in town for a few days and needs a portrait rather quickly. Frankly, he's concerned about attracting attention in public. Would it be possible to have a private sitting sometime today?
Well, yeah, actually, I have an opening at 2 o'clock. What's his name?
Oh, I don't believe I can say his name. You'd recognize it, of course. Why don't we just use my name? Johnson. 2 o'clock, then. Thank you, Miss Bryson. We have an appointment.
If you wash this dirty shirt once, would it look as white as this new shirt?
I don't believe it would.
It looks like something that was used as a rag. It looks like a shirt that was abused.
The Hudsons washed that dirty shirt in Oxidol with bleaching crystals. Now, can they pick out the Oxidol shirt from new shirts, rinsed once but never worn?
They all look pretty good, if you ask me.
Yeah. They all look super. I can't tell them apart now.
What about you?
I can't either.
I think it's done a marvelous job of cleaning.
It's right here. This is your shirt.
It's white. It's
white.
very white.
I think I'll buy Oxidol.
Try Oxidol with bleaching crystals for a white that compares to new.
I would definitely buy Oxidol.
Could you bake a better cake than a pastry chef?
Why not, I said. I'll bet my Duncan Hines cakes are as good as a restaurant cake. But this was Master Chef Henri Bott of San Francisco's famous Blue Boar. Here's my Duncan Hines, and here's the judge, Brian Weatherhill, the owner of the Blue Boar. I sure hoped he wouldn't choose the chef's cake.
It's fine. Very nice cake.
Darn, that was his cake. But now it's Duncan Hines' turn.
It's a better cake. Moist? I prefer this cake.
He picked my cake.
Duncan Hines.
Very good, very moist. I do agree, this cake is better.
Duncan Hines cakes. So moist and delicious, you can make them better than a pastry chef's cake.
Classical Genoise. That's what I did.
Classical or not, this is a better cake.
I must say I'm delighted to meet you at last, Mrs. Saxon. I've heard so much about you. I'm sure it comes as no surprise that you're somewhat of a celebrity here in Monticello.
Oh, dear, what an awesome thought, Mr. Devereaux.
Mr. Carr, I'm delighted to meet you, too. Your performance as district attorney here has earned my admiration.
Thank you.
Your name is familiar to me, Devereaux. You say this is the first time we've met?
Yes, only I'm sorry it's been under such unfortunate circumstances. Oh, please sit down.
Thank you. Well, now, what in heaven's name happened to you?
A most unfortunate state of affairs. I'm really very, very sorry about it. You see, I hired a perfectly respectable couple, a man and wife team, to take care of my house while I was abroad. Now, extraordinary as it might sound, they've turned out to be criminals. And worse. According to what Chief Mallory said last night, it's possible that they might even be espionage agents. Isn't that bizarre?
Well, terrifying for Raven.
Yes, it must have been.
It's still not clear why they brought Raven here in the first place.
Well, it's not clear to me either. But as far as I understand it, they wanted to get something out of her. They brought her here pretending that she'd been arrested by federal authorities.
Good Lord, is there no end to her being victimized?
I beg your pardon?
This is the second time recently that Miss Alexander has been the victim of a hoax.
Yes, it has been a rotten experience for her, but I have tried to make things as comfortable as possible here.
I must go to her at once, if you'll direct me.
Oh, it's the top of the stairs, the second room. But, Matt, could I escort you?
No, I'll find my way, thank you.
Are the ladies related?
No, although they do have a strong mother-daughter relationship.
A most unfortunate thing that happened here last night.
Well, I'm sure both Mrs. Saxon and Miss Alexander are grateful for your concern. It was lucky you returned when you did.
Yes, it was lucky. I'd been involved in some business deals abroad when further business pressures brought me back here quite unexpectedly, only to find that under my own roof some undercover business was going on. Oh, speaking of business, I've been so distracted recently that it's time I looked at the market. Would you allow me a moment to do so?
Oh, of course, of course.
Just a moment to call my broker. Extraordinary way these things dominate our lives. Chance. It's here. Now is the time to sell that amalgamated stock. Yes. All 50,000 shares.
My dear child, what have you gotten yourself into?
I didn't get myself into anything. They forced me into it. Do you believe something like this could happen for the second time? They tried to kill me.
You certainly lead a charmed life, that's all I can say. What was it they were after?
They were after my husband's diary. Or I should say the meaning of some of the entries in it.
Why would they think you'd know anything about it?
I have no idea, but now nobody will know because they took the diary and disappeared. And all I can say is, get me out of here. I want to go home.
Lisa Papalardo thinks she's tasting her mother's homemade spaghetti sauce.
Perfect.
But her mother really gave her ragu home-style spaghetti sauce.
Look at all those green chunks and things in there. It's got pieces of tomato. And it doesn't taste like a jarred sauce. I can spot those in a minute.
Ragu home-style tastes like homemade because it's made like homemade.
This isn't my mother's? No, it isn't. It's from a jar. You're kidding. I know.
Nestle Crunch, the blend of milk chocolate and crispy crunchies that's music to your mouth.
Creamy milk chocolate is the melody. Crispy crunchies are the harmony. The two together are music to munch. Let's hum a few bars of Nestle Crunch. Toe tap and tantalize and happy feeling appetizing. Woo! Nestle Crunch is music, sweet music to your mouth.
On All My Children, Nina Cortlandt Warner, in love with one man, but challenged by another.
Why don't we order room service? We'll have it up here. How does that sound? Unless, what, you don't trust me, right?
All My Children.
Incredible, isn't it? And I thought this George Foley was a perfectly respectable character. It doesn't say much for my choices, does it?
Of course, you had no way of knowing since you hired the Foley couple by correspondence.
But who the hell are these people?
We don't know yet. All we know is that Foley arrived in Monticello impersonating an agent of the counter-espionage agency. Credentials and all. They were forged, of course.
But Foley didn't arrive in Monticello. He was here pretending to look after my house with his wife, Yvonne.
Yes, apparently they were using your house as their headquarters. An elaborate plan, including their own safe house.
Safe house? How do you mean?
That's a secure refuge, unknown to anyone but themselves.
Very neat.
We still don't know what they were after, although from the questions Foley was asking, we assume that it had something to do with a man named Jefferson Brown. Is that name familiar to you?
No, not really.
You must have been abroad when the notoriety about Brown erupted. He was quite famous here, or I should say, infamous. He was an imposter. He was pretending to be a well-known Monticello citizen, took his name and identity. The man he was impersonating was presumed dead, although actually he was alive, living in Switzerland.
The plot thickened.
Oh, yes, and it got much thicker when Miss Alexander married Brown, thinking he was somebody else.
But wait a minute. Was the man he was impersonating called Whitney? Oh, would you excuse me for a moment?
Certainly.
Raven, I'm going to take you home and lock you in your room. It seems to me the only way to keep you out of trouble.
Raven, are you all right?
Well, I think I'll survive. Gunther,
Miss Alexander?
how'd you know I was here?
Oh, yeah, Mrs. Saxon told us.
Yes, I was having a breakfast meeting with Schuyler, and then Mike called me and told me you were here at Mr. Devereaux's.
Well, I am really surprised that Schuyler cared enough to find out how I was.
it's so nice to see you.
Schuyler, you came yourself.
I beg your pardon? Ian, I can't believe it. After all these years, you haven't changed a bit. How are you? Just great, old man.
The traffic. I can't read the boss. The baby. The dog. That does it. Calgon, take me away.
Lose your cares in the luxury of a Calgon bath. Calgon softens the water to leave skin feeling silky smooth as it lifts your spirits. The soft, luxurious, fragrant world of Calgon.
I love it.
Pamper yourself with a Calgon bath. Lose yourself in luxury.
There's a heartwarming story behind the birth on Too Close for Comfort, but only for people who buy people. Then Prince Andrew, he's returned from the Falklands to a hero's welcome and a hectic social life. And People takes a revealing look at Liberace, 63 and still outrageous. In this week's People, you get page after page of fun, information, quality, and value, including profiles of Jim Palmer, the doctors who treated E.T., Lou Gossett from An Officer and a Gentleman, and much more. And if it's in People, you know it's true.
Tonight, soldier of fortune Jake Cutter runs a gauntlet of arrows through a tribe of mud people to save his best friend on the Gold Monkey. Then they were searching for a little extra money to pay the bills. Instead, they found a secret side of themselves they had never known. The story of three suburban housewives who turned to a life of prostitution. Money on the Side, an ABC movie special. Parental discretion advised. Tonight on ABC.
Tonight on ABC's World News Tonight, America's textile industry is being invaded by communist China. Plants closing, jobs lost as Chinese textiles flood our market. ABC News recognized by TV Guide as the most trusted television news organization.
Which network news does America trust most? Find out as we reveal part 2 of a nationwide news survey in the new issue of TV Guide.
This is Stormfield, coming up for you on the 5 o'clock edition of Eyewitness News, the story of a woman who lost weight in order to adopt a child. We're also going to have this report for you.
Have the doctors at Bellevue pulled off another miracle? I'm Mark Haynes. I'll have that story.
Also, something unusual falls out of the sky in the Bronx. Consumer counselor Phyllis Eliasberg tells you how to save money on makeup. And we're going to tell you how expensive it can be if you want to own a dog. We'll have that much more for you when you join us at 5.
Beautiful drink. Tap Cola for beautiful people. Tap Cola. You're beautiful to me. Real cola tastes just 1 calorie.
do it over and over again like an athlete.
Now you are on the line.
It's not exactly a match made in heaven.
I want a career as a surrogate mother.
Rosemary's baby.
So you think you got troubles? Tonight at 7:30 on